All right, so here's 7.2 part 2. I know it doesn't look like we have too much, but we have kind of a little thing we have to do at the end here, which might take some time. So again, we have one last division problem to do. So let's go ahead, because it's division, we're going to flip. So 6t squared minus 7t minus 5 over t squared times t cubed over 2t plus 1. Now let's go ahead and factor. This top is going to factor, I'm going to assume. So 6t squared we can split up into 3t and 2t. And now the 5, now remembering we have to get a 7. So what happens if I put a 5 there and a 1 there? Well, let's see. I would get 6t squared when I'm foiling out. Outside I'd get a positive, or let's see, outside I'd get a 3t, inside I'd get a 10t. Can I get a negative 7 out of a 3 and a 10? Absolutely. The 10 on the inside would have to be negative, and the outside would have to be positive. So that would give me a positive 3t and a negative 10t, which would give me negative 7t. And that, I believe, is the only thing that's going to factor in this problem. Oops. So what can I cancel? Well, the 2t plus 1s will cancel. This t squared will cancel into this t cubed. So this t squared is going to be gone, leaving me with simply a t left on the top. Now notice the denominator, it's all done. They're just ones. So our final answer is simply going to be t times 3t minus 5. All right, so for the last few problems here, we're kind of going back. They kind of added this onto our section. Going back to some things that you did. Well, I know I taught them in Math 45, if you took Math 45 a couple of classes ago. If you didn't, you may need a refresher here. So take very careful notes. So here we go. It says convert 36 square feet into square yards. So the first thing that we have to remember is that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So hopefully you remember that. Now we're not talking about feet and yards, we're actually talking about square feet and square yards. So to convert this little equation to square feet and square yards, we square both sides. So this is actually 9 square feet is equal to, now 1 squared is 1 square yard. So 9 square feet is equal to 1 square yard. So if I wanted to convert 36 square feet into square yards, wouldn't I just take 36 square feet and divide it by 9 square feet? Because each one of these 9 square feet is 1 yard, and I would get 4 square yards. So if 9 square feet is 1 square yard, then 36 square feet would be 4 square yards. So to change square feet to square yards, you just divide by 9. So if to change square feet to square yards, you divide by 9, how do you think you change square yards into square feet? Go the opposite way? Does it make sense that you would multiply by 9? So if I want to change 3.7 square yards into feet, I would simply take 3.7 and multiply it by 9. So 3.7 square yards would be 33.3 square feet. All right, so another way of thinking of it, square feet is smaller than square yards. So if you're changing smaller to bigger, you divide. If you're changing bigger to smaller, you multiply. Smaller to bigger, divide. Bigger to smaller, you multiply. All right, well, let's go one step further here. An outdoor playhouse has a volume of 1.8 cubic yards. Find the size of the playhouse in cubic feet. So the first thing we have to do is, now again, we know that there are 3 feet in 1 yard, but now we're talking about cubic yards and cubic feet. So how do I convert this little equation to cubic units? You're going to cube both sides. So 27, that's 3 cubed, feet cubed, is equal to 1 cubed is still 1 cubic yard. So 27 cubic feet is equal to 1 cubic yard. So now, what am I changing? I'm changing cubic yard to cubic feet. So remember what I just said. I'm going from bigger things to smaller things. So if I'm going from big to small, I'm going to multiply. And in this case, I'm not going to multiply by 9. I'm going to multiply by 27. So I'm going to take 1.8 and multiply by 27. I'm going to get 48.6. Now I'm changing cubic yards to cubic feet. So the first thing you have to do is, I would always start with 3 feet equals 1 yard. And then you're going to either square it or cube it, depending if you're talking about cubic feet or square feet. That way you get your numbers, and then you just have to decide if you're going to multiply or divide. Going from big to small, you multiply, because yards are bigger than feet. So I'm going from big to small. Or up here, I went from small to big, so I divided. Okay, so now this last one. A common housefly travels at a rate of 6.5 feet per second. Convert this to miles per hour. So I'm going to show you a method, the same method that I use and the way that they teach it in 45. Take really careful notes. So this fly goes 6.5 feet in 1 second. So we're going to start off like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by some fractions that will convert it to miles per hour. So let's convert, first of all, the time. In this case, it is seconds. Okay, so now we want the seconds to change to hours. We're going to do that in 2 steps. So we're first going to change seconds to minutes. So what's the relationship between seconds and minutes? Well, we know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. Now, why did I put the 60 on top? Because I want the seconds to cancel. So see now, what I actually have is, if I were to multiply this out, I would have feet per minute. But again, I don't want minute, do I? I want hour. So I need to relate minutes to hours. Well, there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. And I'm going to put the minutes on top. Why? Because I want these minutes to cancel. So I need 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom. So it's 60 minutes in 1 hour. So now look. My minutes cancel. So what do I have left with? If I just look at the units, I'm in feet per hour. So I've got the time right. Now I need to change feet into miles. Do you remember by any chance how many feet there are in a mile? If you don't, I don't blame you. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. You should know that. So I'm going to use this as a fraction, and that's what I'm going to multiply here. Now remember, I want the feet to cancel. This feet is on the top, which means I need the feet on the bottom here. So I'm going to put the 5,280 feet on the bottom and 1 mile on the top. So now this feet will cancel with this feet. So if I just look at my units, let's see what I have left. I have left simply miles per hour, which is exactly what I wanted to convert it to. So now all I literally do, and I'm bringing my calculator over here, is I'm going to, I have to use my other calculator. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the multiplication on the top. So I'm going to have 6.5. So I'm just multiplying across on the top times 60 times 60. So if I bring that up, you can see that. But then what am I going to divide it by? Because it's on the bottom, I'm going to divide it by now 5,280. And you can see I get approximately 4.43 if I go ahead and round it off. So 4.43 miles per hour. And that is the answer. So practice those in your homework.